There are three kinds of words in Arabic. Ism, fail, harf. Ism is the name of person, place, thing, idea, adjective, adverb, and more. Fail, a word that has a tense, past, present, or future. Harf, a word that makes no sense unless another word comes after it. Every ism has four properties: status, number, gender, type. Status, number, gender, type. These are properties of ism. Three forms of status. There are three forms of status: Rafa, Nasab, Jar. Rafa, Nasab, Jar. The subject, the doer of any act, the main person or thing is Rafa or Marfu. Object, detail is Nasab, and usually after of or possession, after of word would be Jar. A teacher entered the classroom. Teacher is entering, so teacher is Rafa. Classroom is the detail, so classroom is Nasab. A student of his was sleeping soundly. A student is sleeping, so student is Rafa. Of his is after of, so it is Jar. And sleeping soundly is Nasab. Soundly is Nasab because it's a detail. The teacher threw a pencil. The teacher is throwing, so the teacher would be Rafa and pencil would be detail, so it will be Nasab. And you can look at these following examples yourself and try to label them as Rafa, Nasab, Jar yourself. If you're familiar with the Muslimun chart, then you know that there are singular, pair, and plural words. For singular words, this is how we recognize Rafa. U or un, ending of singular. A or ani, ending of pair. Una or u, ending of plural. Atun or atu, ending of plural feminine. These are Rafa. For Nasab, a or an, aini or ai, ina or I, atin or ati. These are endings you look for in Nasab. Or in Jar status, in or I, aini or I, ina or I, atin or ati. These are Jar status. This is how we tell status. You have to memorize and get in practice so that you can immediately recognize which words are Rafa, Nasab or Jar in singular, plural or pair forms. This comes with practice. You should practice the Muslimun chart and the feminine Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. Both these charts you should practice a lot so you can recognize. This is an exercise you should do on your own. Make as many mistakes as you like. Mistakes are good. They help you learn better. So just try again and make as many mistakes as possible. It's okay. So here is Muslimun and Muslimatun chart. As you can see, there are Mufrad, Musanni and Jama. There is singular, dual and plural. Muslimun, Muslimani and Muslimuna are Rafa. First line, Muslimun, Muslimani, Muslimuna, these are Rafa status. Musliman, Muslimaini and Muslimina are Nasab status. Muslimin, Muslimaini and Muslimina are Jar status. In the feminine, first line, Rafa, second Nasab, third is Jar. You have to memorize these charts. Light versus heavy. Normally an ism should be heavy. All the words in the Muslim chart are heavy, and ism is made light by removing the extra n sound. The extra noon or the tanween is made singular. So do this by removing the double accent tanween or remove the extra noon at the end of the ism. Al doesn't like tanween, but an ism with al isn't considered light. The Muslim chart in light form: Muslimu, Muslima, Muslimi, Muslima, Muslimai, Muslimai, Muslimu, Muslimi, Muslimi, Muslimatu, Muslimata, Muslimati, Muslimata, Muslimatai, Muslimatai, Muslimatu, Muslimati, Muslimati. Once again, identify whether the following words are light or heavy. This you have to do on your own. Flexibility. What is flexibility? Flexibility is the ability of an ism to show all three status. Rafa, Nasab, Jar. As we saw in the Muslimun chart, Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, that Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, those are three statuses shown by one ism, one word. So if an ism can show all three status, it is called a fully flexible word. It can be heavy or light. Non-flexible words are the words that only show one status in all forms. Some words that are non-flexible are Dunya and Musa. And Asma Mausul, Allazi, Allazani, Allazina, Allati, Allatani, Allai, Allati, Ma and Man. These are always showing same status, but they will have all three, but they will appear as one form. A singular and plural pointing word: Ulaika, Tilka, Zalika, Haula, Hazihi, Haza. These 6 pointers also show same appearance in all three statuses. Partly flexible words, they cannot be heavy and cannot take a kasra at the end. They have 2 forms, one form to show rafa status and one form to represent both jar and nasab statuses. Partly flexible, a closer look. Words that are partly flexible. Proper names of places, proper names of all places, whether Arab or not. Exceptions are names of places spelled with 3 letters. As you can see in the table, Makkatu, Makkata, Makkata. Pakistanu, Pakistana, Pakistana. Adnun, Adnan, Adnin. You can see the difference. First 2 names had 4 or more than 4 letters, but Adnun, Adnan, Adnin has 3 letters. Number. There are normal masculine plural, normal feminine plural, human broken plural, and non-human broken plurals. You have to remember these. There are normal masculine feminine plurals, and there are human broken plurals, and there are non-human broken plurals. Broken plurals don't have plural endings like those in the Muslim chart. Broken plurals have ending sounds. They can only be identified through vocabulary, otherwise they look singular. Human broken plurals representing intelligent beings. Example, Malaika, Rusul, Ulama. Treated as she, singular, or what they really are, as they. Non-human broken plurals are non-intelligent beings like Kilabun, Masajid, Kutubun. All non-human broken plurals are treated as singular she. Singular she. So difference is, human broken plurals can either be treated as singular she or they. Non-human broken plurals can be treated as only as singular she. Here is a list of all the words that are feminine because, just because the Arab said so. There is no grammatical rule. They are just feminine and they are treated as feminine. So you can memorize this text. During a harb, a soldier was daydreaming, looking up at the sama until the shams came up. When he snapped out of it, he realized he was the only nafs left on the battlefield. He was surrounded by nar, so he used a dalwun full of water to make a sabil and a tariq, all the way to Sefer Ard. In the hot blowing gree, he was desperately looking for a bir to draw water from. In his search, he found an empty dar, inside which he finds a ka'as full of khamr. He is tempted despite his fear of Jahannam and a sa'ir to take a sip, but wards off his temptation and uses his asa to strike the drink. Gender. Masculine is the default gender. Feminine can be real feminine or fake feminine. Real feminine is feminine by nature, like mother, or bakratun, cow. Fake feminine could be words that are ending with all these: ta marbuta, alif maksura or alif mamduda, non-human broken plurals, places, body parts in pairs, and the list we just saw on page 12. Gender can be either the natural gender or fake feminine can be all these. In this list, you have to memorize this. Next property of ism is common versus proper. Common is the default. And there are 7 kinds of proper. Words with al, proper names, the one being called, pronouns, ism ishara, pointer words, ism mausul, allazi, allazina, ma, man. The words before of if the word after of is proper. For example, in the following ayat, the highlighted words are proper. And you can go through them one by one. In the second example, Ibrahim is the word after of, and Musa is after wow. That connects the status of Musa and Ibrahim will be the same because they are connected with a wow. Pronouns. Huwa huma hum, hiya huma hunna, anta antuma antum, anti antuma antuna, ana nahnu. Huwa huma hum, hiya huma hunna, anta antuma antum, anti antuma antunna, ana nahnu. Please repeat these pronouns if you need to hundreds of times till they are second nature. Now we are going to look at idafa. Idafa is a fragment that is used to show possession. Something of something or something of someone is shown through idafa. You don't find of just like is. Of is also not found, usually not found in Arabic language. It is shown through a trick of a fragment in which the first word can have any status with the second word is jar. The word, this is how we usually say the word after of is jar. The thing that is possessed can have any status, but the thing it belongs to, the one it belongs to, will have the jar status. So this is called idafa, and the first word is the mudaf and the second word is the mudaf ilayh. So we say mudaf can have any status, but the mudaf ilayh will only be jar. But there are certain rules, additional rules. The mudaf, the word before of, it has to be light and it cannot have al on it. The first word, the mudaf, is light, it cannot have al on it. The mudaf ilayh, after of word, is in jar status, and it doesn't matter if it is light or not. There is no long distance relationship between these two words, they're always right and next to each other. The mudaf ilayh is proper, then the mudaf can also be proper. Otherwise, it's not proper. If the mudaf ilayh is proper, then the mudaf is also proper. Here is a list of special mudafs. They don't give any meaning of off, but still they are called special mudafs. You have to memorize these. Fawqa, tahta, bada, qabla, amama, khalfa, baina, wara'a, kuddama, hawla, ghaira, ladunna, inda, ma'a, bada, kulla, ayyu, duna. This list has to be memorized. Now we're going to have a look at the adjectives. Mawsuf sifa. Primary rules for Mawsuf sifa. Mawsuf must be first and the only one. Sifa has the same four properties as the Mawsuf. It comes after the Mawsuf. It may be more than one, and it can tolerate a long distance relationship. It is possible that the Mawsuf is here and the sifa is after 3-4 words. It is possible. With idafa we saw it is impossible to have a long distance relationship. With Mawsuf sifa there can be a long distance relationship. Idafa, the mudaf mudaf ilayh have to be next to each other. There is no interruption between them. They are right next to each other. Mawsuf sifa, adjective. An adjective can be after 2-3 words of the noun it is an adjective upon. So the Mawsuf is never a pronoun, pointer word or ism mawsul. Sifa is never a proper name, pronoun or pointer word. Look out for non-human plurals and their feminine sifas. For example, al-kutubu as-saghiratun, the small books. Hakaibun jamilatun, beautiful bags. So these are tricky. The non-human broken plurals will have a singular feminine sifa. Don't get confused, it gets easy with practice. And below are examples of Mawsuf sifa from the Quran. Primary rules for harf of jar. What is a harf of jar? Harf of jar is a harf that bends the status of the next word to jar status. It is a harf that changes the status of the next word to jar status. The harf of jar is called jar and the ism it makes jar is called the majroor. There are 17 harf of jar, but here are listed the ones that are in the Quran. Ba, ta, kaf, lam, waw, min, fi, an, ala, hatta, ila. Ba, ta, kaf, lam, waw, min, fi, an, ala, hatta, ila. Ba, ta, kaf, lam, waw, min, fi, an, ala, hatta, ila. You have to repeat them as much as possible till you remember them as good as your names. When attached to a pronoun, the lam is pronounced as la, otherwise it is li. For example, li rasulin versus lakum. Lakum is an example where it is attached to a pronoun. So, li becomes la when attached to a pronoun. Please don't confuse the lam and waw of huruf jar with the lam and waw that have other meanings, like lam of tawqeed and waw that means and. Do not confuse these with each other. Primary rules for harf of nasab. Just like harf of jar, there are some huruf that change the next word, the status of the next word to nasab status. These can tolerate a long distance relationship. The harf of jar does not tolerate a long distance relationship. It only does the status change on the immediate next word. The harf of jar changes the status of the immediate next word. Harf of nasab, however, can change the status of a word that is not immediately next to it. These are inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la alla. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la alla. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la alla. Please note that the nasab form of the pronouns ana is ni and nahnu is na. When attached to a harf of nasab, these pronouns can be written fully or the noon can be dropped, like innani or innana. Below are some other examples from the Quran, and you can go through them yourself and practice them more. In the following, one example I'd like to mention here is inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadri. So in here you have harf nasab and you have harf jar. Fi turns layla to laylatil qadri. Inna is working on na and laylati is affected by fi. So this is interesting because it has both harf nasab and harf jar in it. Here are some harf of jar examples from the Quran. Bil mu'minina, qalu tallahi, ka asfim maqul, walakum, wal asri, min anfusikum, fil kisasi hayatun, yas'alunaka anil anfali, wa alallahi falyatawakkalil mu'minin, hatta matla'il fajr, and so on. Let's have a look at Asma'ul Ishara, pointing words. Pointing words are haza, hazani, haulai, hazihi, hatani, haulai. These are used for near objects. Haza, hazani, haulai are masculine. Hazihi, hatani, haulai are feminine. Their jar and nasab forms are written under them. Haza, hazaini, haulai, hazihi, hataini, haulai. The only difference we see is in the dual form. Hazani, hazaini, hatani, hataini. The rest are the same. And we have seen earlier, these are non-flexible. 6 of these are non-flexible. The pointer words for far objects are Zalika, Zanika, Ulaika, Tilka, Tanika, Ulaika. And similarly, only the dual forms are partly flexible. The rest are non-flexible. Using pointers to make a fragment. The pointer must be followed immediately by al. Hazal Bait means this house. The properties of the pointer and the pointed at must match. And when we remove the al, it becomes a sentence. Hazal Bait is this house. Haza Baitun is this is a house. So you remember the rule of al in the Musharun Ilay, that is the word that is pointed at. The thing that is pointed at becomes the Musharun Ilay. Ismul Ishara is the pointer. The thing that is pointed at becomes the Musharun Ilay. Ismul Ishara, Musharun Ilay. Ismul Ishara, Musharun Ilay. If you remove al from the Musharun Ilay, it becomes a sentence. It's no longer an Ismul Ishara, Musharun Ilay fragment. Al makes a fragment. No al makes a sentence. Jumla Ismiya. Finding the invisible is. Just like mostly there is no of in Arabic language, there is no is. Finding the invisible is. Here are some rules. Independent pronouns are usually followed by is. Ana Muslimun. I am a Muslim. By is, you can also assume am. A pointer word that is not followed by al. Haza Baitun, this is a house. Harf of nasab and its ism is usually followed by is. A proper word followed by a common word have an is between, and a break in the chain anywhere also has is in the first break that takes place in the chain. These will be explained in detail later on. Now we come to past tense conjugation. Verb conjugations are very important part of the Arabic language. We are going to learn a few templates, and then these templates can help you unlock the mystery of a huge treasure of the Arabic vocabulary. So you must pay a lot of attention to these conjugations. Huwa nasara, huma nasara, hum nasaru. Hiya nasarat, huma nasarata, hunna nasarna. Anta nasarta, antuma nasartuma, antum nasartum. Anti nasarti, antuma nasartuma, antunna nasartunna, ana nasartu, nahnu nasarna. Attaching pronouns to verbs or fail. Recall that pronouns attached to fail are nasab because they are details. To translate fail with attached pronouns, example, nasarani. Identify and ignore the attached pronoun. Ni is the attached pronoun. Translate the fail by itself. Nasara means he helped. Translate the attached pronoun by itself. Ni means me. Put it all together and nasarani means he helped me. Also look at the following examples. Nasara, he helped. Nasaraha, he helped her. And you can go through all the examples likewise and practice them till you can identify and use them as templates in forming other words. Nasartu, I helped. Nasartuhu, I helped him. Nasarat, she helped. Nasaratni, she helped me. Allamna, we taught. Allamna kunna, we taught all of you females. Allamtuma, both of you taught. Allamtuma huma, both of you taught both of them. Allamtum, all of you taught. All of you taught us. Allamtumuna. Qalu, they said. Qaluhu, they said it. And you can go through all of these again and again till they become second nature. Let's have a look at the present tense chart now. Huwa yansuru, huma yansurani, hum yansuruna, hiya tansuru, huma tansurani, hunna yansurna, anta tansuru, antuma tansurani, antum tansuruna, anti tansurina, antuma tansurani, antunna tansurna, ana ansuru, nahnu nansuru. Present tense tips. Remember, a present tense will start with a you, ya, tu, ta, a, u or na, nu. These are very easy and become very, very, very easy with practice. So, what is an inside doer and what is an outside doer? Every verb has a doer. Every action has a doer. Some verbs have a doer inside it. That is represented by the pronoun, and that's why we did the conjugation with huwa nasara, huma nasara, hum nasaru, hiya nasarat, huma nasarata. They automatically have a pronoun inside them. And that pronoun is doing the action, and that's when we say it is an inside doer. But other times there are doer or doers outside the verb. They are called outside doers. When you have a doer of the verb, doer of the action that is outside the action word, the verb will be in the huwa or hiya form. The verb will always be in the huwa or hiya form, and the doer will be in the rafa status. The verb will be in the huwa or hiya form, and the doer will be outside in the rafa status. That is how you identify this is the outside doer of that verb or fail or action. Let's have a look at present tense. And there are huruf that make the present tense light, and there are huruf that make the present tense lightest. Now, what is meant by light and lightest? The huruf that make a present tense light. An, lan, likkai, izan, hatta. An, lan, likai is an hatta. Li and kai and likai. All these three can be used interchangeably. An, lan, likai is an hatta. These make the present tense only. They make the present tense light. What is the light present tense? As you can see, antunna, hunna, these versions do not change. And the last sound changes. Yansuru becomes yansura. And the present tense that ends with a noon, we remove the noon. And the dhamma becomes fatha. So here it is, the light present tense chart. Huwa yansura, huma yansura, hum yansuru. Hiya tansura, huma tansura, hunna yansurna. Anta tansura, antuma tansura, antum tansuru. Anti tansuri, antuma tansura, antunna tansurna. Ana ansura, nahnu nansura. Huruf jazma lil mudare. These huruf change the mudare or present tense into lightest form. And the changes we saw in the light form, except for having a fatha, the present tense will have a sukoon. The light and the lightest versions are important to create command and forbidding. Amr and nahi forms of the Arabic words are formed after you know the lightest versions of the present tense. Both the commanding and the forbidding, both of them will take place in the lightest present tense. Because you cannot command somebody in the past and you cannot command somebody in the future. You always command somebody in the present tense and you always forbid somebody in the present tense. Right? You cannot command somebody in the past and you cannot command somebody in the future. You are doing this in the present time, in the present form. So you will use the present tense in the lightest version for both commanding and forbidding. So we just learned that the lightest version of the present tense is when the oo sound becomes sukoon, or the present tense words having noon, their noon is removed. Secondly, you cannot order someone, you cannot command someone, or you cannot forbid someone who is not present. So you will only command or forbid in the you versions of pronouns. You cannot command or forbid he, she, it, or they. You cannot command yourself. So the only part of the pronouns that you're using, the only versions of the verb you're using are the you, you two, you all masculine, or you two, and you all feminine. These are the only words, the 6 verbs of the present tense that can be converted into commanding and forbidding. So let's have a look at how this is done. Step by step. You can't command forbid in the past tense. You can't command yourself. You can't command forbid who's not there. It's easier to forbid than to command. A grammatical command isn't always really a command. It would be a suggestion, motivation, permission, advice, request, imperative, or sarcasm. Forbidding. For forbidding, you use la plus the lightest present tense second person. Like if you go is tazhabu, anta tazhabu, you will make tazhabu to tazhab, the lightest form, and you add a la to it. So here is an example of how to command. For command, you have to make two changes. In forbidding, you only made the present tense lightest and you added a la. For commanding, you have to change first the present tense into the lightest form, and then you have to make more changes. Here are the changes. Start with the lightest second person, and then you remove the ta, and if after removing the ta the word is readable, then you're done. But if the word is not readable, like tazhabu, when you remove the ta, the next word has a sukoon. When you remove the ta and the next letter has a sukoon, then you will add a helper alif. And how do you choose the sound of the helper alif? If the letter next to the silent letter has a dhamma, then the helper alif gets a dhamma. Only then, only in this case, the helper alif gets a dhamma. Otherwise, it will get a kasra. So when you remove ta of tazhabu and you make it first you make it tazhab, then you remove the ta, zhab is not readable, then you add helper alif, and since ha has a fatha and not a dhamma, helper alif gets a kasra. So the word becomes izhab. The command becomes izhab, izhab. And this is just a very brief walkthrough of revision for the dream intensive. And I hope it is beneficial for anyone who wants to go through a quick review of the whole thing.